The inspector's statement that all home runs must be replaced is not explicitly stated in the National Electrical Code, or NEC. The NEC does address the issue of smoke-damaged wires in Section 300.11. Exception 1 states if the damaged portion of the wire is not more than 2.5 meters, which is about 8 feet, from the outlet or junction box to which the wire is connected, it shall be permissible to replace only the damaged portion of the wire. This exception is intended to allow for short sections of damaged wire to be repaired rather than replacing the entire length of the circuit. Exception 2 states where the insulation has been damaged by fire, arc, or chemical action, it shall be permissible to reuse the conductors if all insulation that has been damaged is removed and replaced. This exception allows for the reuse of conductors if the damaged insulation is completely removed and replaced. In your case, the damaged wires leaving the panel were replaced and the junction box was installed. The wires were inspected carefully and there was no damage from heat or smoke. Based on the NEC exceptions, it would be permissible to reuse the conductors if the damaged insulation was removed and replaced, or to replace only the damaged portion of the wire. Since the damaged wires have been replaced entirely, the requirements of the NEC have been met. It appears that the inspector's statement is not supported by the NEC in this instance. However, it is always advisable to consult with the local code enforcement authority for their specific interpretation of the code. Here are some further points to consider. Firstly, the National Electrical Code, or NEC, is a comprehensive set of standards for safe electrical installation. It is updated every 3 years, so it is important to refer to the latest edition. Secondly, electrical inspectors are responsible for enforcing the NEC and ensuring that electrical installations are safe. They have the authority to interpret the code and make decisions about whether an installation meets the requirements. Thirdly, when dealing with smoke-damaged wires, it is important to carefully inspect the wires for any signs of damage. This includes checking the insulation for cracks, burns, or other signs of deterioration. Fourthly, if there is any doubt about the condition of the wires, it is always best to replace them. It is better to be safe than sorry when it comes to electrical safety. Fifthly, when replacing wires, it is important to use the correct type and size of wire for the application. The NEC specifies the types of wires that are permitted for different applications. Sixthly, when installing a junction box, it is important to follow the NEC requirements for installing junction boxes. This includes ensuring that the junction box is properly grounded and that the wires are properly connected. Seventhly, it is important to consult with a qualified electrician if you are not comfortable working with electricity. Electricity can be dangerous, and it is important to take precautions to avoid electrical shock. Eighthly, local codes can vary, and it is important to check with the local code enforcement authority to determine if there are any additional requirements that apply in your area. Ninthly, documentation of the repair is important. Keep records of the work performed, including photos and receipts for materials. This can be helpful if there are any questions about the repair in the future. Tenthly, consider a second opinion. If there is disagreement with the inspector, consider getting a second opinion from another qualified electrical inspector or a licensed electrical engineer. The NEC provides specific guidelines regarding the replacement and reuse of conductors that have been exposed to smoke. Section 300.11 addresses the support of wiring and raceways, and while it does not directly mandate the replacement of all smoke-damaged wires, it emphasizes the importance of maintaining the structural integrity of electrical installations. The exceptions listed under this section provide some flexibility in dealing with damaged wires, but they also underscore the need for careful evaluation and judgment. Exception number 1 allows for the replacement of only the damaged portion of a wire if it is within 2.5 meters or 8 feet of the outlet or junction box. This exception recognizes that in some cases the damage may be limited to a small section of the wire, and it may not be necessary to replace the entire run. However, it is important to carefully inspect the remaining wire to ensure that it is not damaged in any way. Exception number 2 allows for the reuse of conductors if the damaged insulation is completely removed and replaced. This exception recognizes that the conductors themselves may not be damaged by smoke, and it may be possible to salvage them by replacing the insulation. However, it is important to carefully remove all of the damaged insulation and replace it with new insulation that is suitable for the application. When evaluating smoke-damaged wires, it is important to consider the following factors. Firstly, the extent of the damage. How much of the wire is damaged, and how severe is the damage? Secondly, the type of wire. What type of wire is it, and what is its insulation rating? Thirdly, the location of the wire. Where is the wire located, and what is it exposed to? Fourthly, the age of the wire. How old is the wire, and has it been previously damaged? Based on these factors, you can determine whether it is safe to reuse the wire, replace only the damaged portion, or replace the entire run. In the specific scenario, the damaged wires leaving the panel were replaced and a junction box was installed. The remaining wires were carefully inspected and found to be undamaged. Based on the NEC exceptions, it would be permissible to reuse the conductors if the damaged insulation was removed and replaced, or to replace only the damaged portion of the wire. Since the damaged wires have been replaced entirely, the requirements of the NEC have been met. However, the inspector's statement that all home runs must be replaced is not necessarily supported by the NEC. It is important to consult with the local code enforcement authority for their specific interpretation of the code. Additionally, it may be helpful to seek a second opinion from another qualified electrical inspector or a licensed electrical engineer. Here are some additional considerations. Firstly, the type of smoke. Different types of smoke can have different effects on electrical insulation. For example, smoke from a fire that involves plastics or chemicals may be more damaging than smoke from a fire that involves wood or paper. Secondly, the duration of exposure. The longer the wires are exposed to smoke, the more likely they are to be damaged. Thirdly, the environmental conditions. High humidity or temperature can exacerbate the effects of smoke damage. Fourthly, the presence of corrosive substances. If the smoke contains corrosive substances such as hydrochloric acid, it can damage the conductors themselves, in addition to the insulation. When inspecting smoke-damaged wires, it is important to look for the following signs. Firstly, discoloration. Smoke can discolor the insulation, making it appear brown or black. Secondly, cracking. Smoke can cause the insulation to crack, making it brittle and susceptible to damage. Thirdly, swelling. Smoke can cause the insulation to swell, making it difficult to work with. Fourthly, odor. Smoke can leave a distinct odor on the insulation, which can be a sign of damage. Fifthly, brittleness. Smoke-damaged insulation may become brittle and easily crumble when handled. Sixthly, loss of flexibility. The wires may lose their flexibility and become stiff. Seventhly, surface residue. There may be a sticky or oily residue on the surface of the insulation. Eighthly, insulation resistance. Measure the insulation resistance using a megometer to check for degradation. Ninthly, conductor corrosion. Inspect the conductors for signs of corrosion, especially at connection points. Tenthly, physical damage. Look for any signs of physical damage to the wires or insulation, such as cuts, abrasions, or punctures. If any of these signs are present, the wires should be replaced. It is also important to consider the age of the wiring. Older wiring may be more susceptible to damage from smoke than newer wiring. If the wiring is more than 25 years old, it may be prudent to replace it, even if there are no visible signs of damage. In addition to the NEC requirements, there may be local codes or regulations that apply. It is important to check with the local code enforcement authority to determine if there are any additional requirements. When replacing smoke-damaged wires, it is important to use the correct type and size of wire. The NEC specifies the types of wires that are permitted for different applications. It is also important to use the correct wiring methods. The NEC specifies the wiring methods that are permitted for different applications. When installing a junction box, it is important to follow the NEC requirements for installing junction boxes. This includes ensuring that the junction box is properly grounded and that the wires are properly connected. It is also important to properly support the wires. The NEC specifies the methods that can be used to support wires. If not comfortable working with electricity, it is important to consult with a qualified electrician. Electricity can be dangerous, and it is important to take precautions to avoid electrical shock. The process of assessing and remediating smoke-damaged wiring involves several critical steps. Firstly, initial assessment. Perform a thorough visual inspection of all wiring in the affected area, paying close attention to the condition of the insulation. Secondly, documentation. Document all findings with photos and detailed notes to support any decisions made. Thirdly, testing. Use appropriate testing equipment to check the integrity of the wiring and insulation. Fourthly, code compliance. Ensure that all work complies with the latest edition of the NEC and local codes. Fifthly, qualified personnel. Engage qualified and licensed electricians to perform the assessment and remediation work. Sixthly, safety measures. Implement appropriate safety measures to protect workers and occupants during the remediation process. Seventhly, replacement or repair. Decide whether to replace or repair the damaged wiring based on the extent of the damage and code requirements. Eighthly, proper disposal. Dispose of any damaged wiring or materials in accordance with local regulations. Ninthly, final inspection. Conduct a final inspection to ensure that all work has been completed properly and that the electrical system is safe to operate. Tenthly, verification. Verify that all circuits are properly labeled and that any necessary updates have been made to the electrical panel schedule. When dealing with electrical inspectors, it is important to be professional and respectful. If there is disagreement with the inspector's interpretation of the code, it is important to calmly and respectfully explain the reasoning and provide supporting documentation. It may also be helpful to seek a second opinion from another qualified electrical inspector or a licensed electrical engineer. Here are some common misconceptions about smoke-damaged wiring. Firstly, all smoke-damaged wiring must be replaced. As discussed above, this is not always the case. The NEC provides exceptions for replacing only the damaged portion of the wire or for reusing conductors if the damaged insulation is removed and replaced. Secondly, smoke damage only affects the insulation. Smoke can also damage the conductors themselves, especially if the smoke contains corrosive substances. Thirdly, visual inspection is sufficient to determine the extent of the damage. Visual inspection is important, but it should be supplemented with testing to ensure the integrity of the wiring and insulation. Fourthly, homeowners can safely assess and remediate smoke-damaged wiring themselves. It is always best to engage qualified and licensed electricians to perform this type of work. Fifthly, insurance will always cover the cost of replacing smoke-damaged wiring. Insurance coverage can vary depending on the policy and the cause of the damage. It is important to consult with your insurance company to determine the extent of coverage. In summary, when dealing with smoke-damaged wiring, it is important to follow these steps. Firstly, assess the damage. Secondly, consult the NEC and local codes. Thirdly, engage qualified personnel. Fourthly, document all findings. Fifthly, implement safety measures. Sixthly, replace or repair the wiring as needed. Seventhly, conduct a final inspection. And eighthly, verify the system's safety and functionality. By following these steps, one can ensure that the electrical system is safe and compliant with all applicable codes and regulations. Remember to always prioritize safety and seek professional assistance when dealing with electrical systems.